everyone, we started our journey by exploring Chinatown in Chicago, which comprises of one of the three largest subcultures of USA, and followed by conducting interviews of people belonging to these subcultures. Hope you enjoy it.
Hello, my name is Roberto. I'm a first-generation Mexican American. In my household, my mother had a very strict rules. So from the door inside, it was strictly Spanish. If I walked in, I said, "Hey mom, how's it going?" I would virtually get ignored. She would not say anything. She would literally ignore me until I said, "Hola mamá, ¿cómo estás?" And I would literally say it in Spanish, and she's like, "Great." And now in hindsight, I'm very grateful for that, because thanks to her and her ridiculous rule at the time, I'm a fluent Spanish-speaking individual. So luckily in this area, there is, if you would, flea markets, or just street markets, if you would. There tends to be a very high concentration of them in the area. So for the majority of my purchasing personally, I tend to go to the markets, because they tend to have, for one, cheaper, two, it's a bigger variety. And obviously it comes a lot of times where I'm trying to follow a recipe, for example, for my mother, and she tells me a certain ingredient, but shy of me Googling it, I don't know what it is in English. So there's a very big void in terms of what they tell me to what I've learned here in the States. So it's easier for me to go to these markets and say, "Hey, I'm looking for such and such," and they have it in variety in bulk. Yes, it's very different. I've been to Mexico on various occasions, and I feel that in Mexico, they definitely do go above and beyond in terms of the festivities, especially around the holidays, where it's more, there's more of a community feel to it, where like your neighbor knows your neighbor, and you do all those things. Where here, I've been living in this neighborhood for years, and sometimes I don't even know my neighbor on the next block. Where out there, everyone knows each other by name, and they're able to share a meal or help each other out in a time of need. So I do feel like the community feel is a lot stronger in Mexico than it is here. And it's nothing against, the US or nothing like that, but I just feel it's like a cultural thing. Where, like, for example, during the Christmas season, there's, in English, it's caroling, in Spanish, it's posadas. But out there, like, you literally go from neighbor's house to neighbor's house, and you share a meal, you share tea, coffee, or whatever it is. And there's a lot of shortages, chain supply issues. So you have to pivot. Sometimes you may not find your regular brand that you like, so you have to pivot to something else. And the quality may not be the same, but it usually comes down to whether you want it or not. This is what we have, so, take it or leave it. So definitely there has been a change in that, and it's more to adaptability. Just get what you can. If not, then you're out of luck, and good luck completing that, coveted dish for the holidays. So you just make do, in terms of that. And sometimes it just comes down to word of mouth, like, hey, they don't have it there, but this other store has it here. And that's how you explore other stores that are not necessarily within your area. But for the most part, I come to realize that people are not shy about making the trip, whether it's, 10, 20, 30 minutes longer out of their way, just to get that certain product, regardless of the brand. It's either one or the other. It's either everything's in English or everything's in Spanish. So it's really cut dry. Like, it's come to, and I found this frustrating amongst a lot of the customers that I deal with. There isn't like a bilingual label. So it's either everything's in Spanish or everything's in English, depending on the retailer that you're going to. So you pretty much have to have Google handy with you, or try to find someone that can translate for you. And I find that very unfair, especially when, they're there to spend money, and they may have the product, but just because of the language barrier or the translation issue, they'll just leave. So when someone does something like this, being from the US, it's just like, oh, that's gnarly, it's chill. But out there, like, it damn near means the same. So it really depends. A lot of things translate, but a lot of things don't. Another thing that they do out there is they tend to whistle a lot, if you would. So like, if someone were to be like, that's like the ultimate disrespect to like your mom.
In America, we have Thanksgiving, Father's Day, Mother's Day. In Korea, they actually have their own Thanksgiving Day, but it depends on the cycle of the moon and what year it is. When it comes in the cycle, so it's not always the same day like Thanksgiving is. Actually, like, this year was actually like 2 months ago. I didn't actually celebrate it because I don't know why I didn't, but usually you have the traditional meal with that. So it's kind of like Thanksgiving, but it's not like a turkey. It's more like a traditional Korean meal. when you look at like I mentioned Mother's Day and Father's Day, so they have a Parents' Day and Children's Day in Korea. I don't celebrate that, obviously, but I do know that like in my church we try to celebrate that for the kids so that they're exposed not only to American culture, but they know that the Korean culture has those kind of days as well. So for me, I mean, food is very important. So I go to English grocery store, but then I also go to a Korean grocery store and get my Korean ingredients to eat. I do also go to like Korean restaurants.
In my culture, since my family is deeply rooted in religion, I would say tattoos and piercings aren't allowed, hence my 2 piercings. You would kind of say against that norm. It's just that personally with me, I feel that, when it comes to your faith and your relationship with God, that, it's different from everyone, My piercings shouldn't define my relationship when it comes to God, so I guess you could say I kind of rebelled against that in one way or another.
We do Juneteenth. Juneteenth just became a national holiday this year, which I'm really excited about because Juneteenth is basically the African Americans' Independence Day, other than July the 4th like everyone else. And we typically do barbecues, so like we'll grill some chicken, hot dogs, we shop, and we just spend time with our family. We dress up, and we just have a good time.